I was born in Ithaca, New York, the home of Cornell University. And in my younger days, my childhood, we had a lot of young kids in that neighborhood, and we would watch them wrestle at the YMCA. And that's where Bill Layton had his wrestling team wrestle off at, you know. And we didn't know anything about it, wrestling, but after they were through, we'd get out on the mat and wrestle ourselves. We didn't know what we were doing, but we would try to take each other down and grab them around the neck and, you know, crazy things that would never work in a real match. Bill Layton saw us, and he took us under his wing and started teaching us how to wrestle. We had a high school team that was undefeated for about 3 years in a row, and I was on that team. I wrestled, we didn't have a 165-pounder. I weighed 138, and they put me up to wrestling at 165 pounds. And I happened to go undefeated at that weight, weighing 138, 140 pounds. And that was a lot of fun. Even at high school, we were getting in the Rochester wrestling tournaments. You know, that we're wrestling college individuals that had 3 and 4 years experience over us, and we always seemed to come out winners on that because we had such a good coach. Knowing Jimmy Miller, when I got out of high school, I applied for a position at Cornell University, and I was able to get into Cornell and went through the undergraduate, and then I went to the graduate business school. I used to get a guy by the name of Orlando Turco that was on the team with us, and I'd get him on Saturdays and Sundays, and we'd go up to Cornell and use their wrestling mats, and we'd practice and practice and practice, and that's what you have to do. You would work on the things that worked all the time. I had two holds that I used all the time, and one was you tie up with a guy and reach over for an arm, and then go down and grab his leg and knock him down with a headbutt, you know. And then the other one I loved a lot was the duck under. You have the head and the arm, and you'd get your head right under his armpit almost, and get him off balance a little bit, and duck under the arm, and come around behind and take him down. We had a tournament called the Wilkes College Open Tournament. That was really fun when you get to be able to wrestle people from the teams of Iowa and Oklahoma, you know, because they were the top teams in the country at that time. And I was undefeated in had seven tournaments that I got in with the Wilkes College tournament, and I did get the outstanding wrestling trophy at one time while I was wrestling there. Well, the toughest guy I ever met, I believe, was a guy by the name of Hoke. He was over 6 foot tall, and I like to get close to my opponent. And this guy, he was 6 feet away from me. I had a terrible time pulling him in and getting to his legs. But you know, you've done it so many times. You find so many techniques to use. After a while, I was able to get in on him even with the difficulty that he had. He was able to arm drag me one time and come behind me, and that's where he got his points from. But he was tough. He was probably the toughest kid I ever met.
I was especially influenced by Frank Bettucci, who was a national collegiate champ. The influence was by his example. He was proof that a local Ithaca High wrestler could become a national champion, and he went on to compete at the international level and win the Olympic trials. So that made it apparent to us that that was an attainable goal. And And Frank, later I trained with him, and together we won both of us won the 1960 Olympic trials.
People think the success of Cornell wrestling is a modern day phenomenon. They don't realize that Frank Bettucci kind of ushered in an era back in the 50s. Frank was a legendary status, and I look at him like almost like a Travis Lee for us. And when Frank Bettucci and Dick Vincent won their national championships, along came guys like Dick Vincent and certainly Dave Auble.
Bill Layton, he saw something in me that I didn't know was there, and that was a great determination to succeed, and just be able to accomplish things that you never accomplished before. And the thing that I always made up my mind was that nobody's going to beat me, and that was part of my wrestling career all the way through. It's a great honor to be able to be inducted into the Wrestling Hall of Fame, because it takes a lot of work and a lot of commitment to wrestling, and you have to have accomplished something. It's the greatest honor I could ever get in my wrestling career.